So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my theory as AC Milan are officially out of the race to sign Zaniolo in January. Now it's all in Bournemouth's hands. And it's weird because earlier today Zaniolo said no to Bournemouth, but due to the fact that 5 minutes ago it has been confirmed that Milan are now officially out of the race to try and sign Zaniolo in January, then I think Zaniolo can change his mind and maybe say yes to Bournemouth. And otherwise, he just stays in Rome. I mean, that's what I thought since the day Zaniolo wanted to leave. I think he said it too late. If you want to leave, he should have said it earlier because, we've had 1 week to kind of find a team. It's not a lot of time, especially with the demand that Roma's asking for, the amount of money Roma's asking for. It's never a lot of time 1 week to find teams which are actually willing to satisfy those demands. But today, look, we're going to talk about Zaniolo, obviously. I said it's going to be the topic of the week. It was going to be the topic of the week. Transfer market is about to end. How does this situation change? Will Zaniolo still be our own player? Will Zaniolo find a team? Right, let's go chronologically, because today, at around lunchtime here in Italy, Bournemouth presented a massive offer to Roma, which Roma, the club, accepted, but Zaniolo, the player, turned down just because of Bournemouth's ambitions. Now, we are speaking of an offer of 30 million euros plus add-ons, so around 35 total million euros, plus a 10% of the money. If Bournemouth resell Zaniolo, we would get 10% of them out. That's just a dream come true. But Zaniolo said no. It would have been perfect for the club. It would have been perfect for Thiago Pinto, who in fact said yes to that offer. It's just the guy who doesn't want to go there. To be fair, look, do I blame him? I don't know, because at the end of the day, going from Roma to Bournemouth is not a step up in your career. Now, do I agree with him? Do I not agree with him? You see, it's tough, because if the only thing he cares about is money, then I think he should go there. But at the same time, if I were Zaniolo, I would not go from Roma to Bournemouth. Bournemouth are 90% going to be relegated. 90% going to be relegated. Imagine Zaniolo playing in a championship next season. You see, Zaniolo wants more. I do partly agree with him when it comes to turning down this bid, because he expected big clubs to come search for him. He wants Milan. The big thing with Zaniolo is that he wanted Milan. He wants to sign for Milan. He wants to go and kiss Leao's ass. But at the same time, Milan now, literally 5 minutes ago, and when people say I say absolutely bullshit, this is true. Gianluca Di Morso has confirmed this 5 minutes ago. Go on his Twitter account. Milan are out of the race if Roma doesn't change the formula of this deal. So if Roma don't lower their offer, their demands, and maybe they accept loans, then Milan could consider re-entering the race. But as things stands, Roma gave 24 hours to Milan to think about the deal. But we've got two different opposite poles, because on one pole, you have the club which is fully satisfying the demands that the club is asking for, Bournemouth, but the player doesn't want to go there. And on the other side, you've got a player who wants to go to Milan, but the team is not offering and satisfying the demands. So we've got two completely different things. However, the fact that he refused Bournemouth came before the news that Milan were not in the race anymore. You're probably saying, well, what does it change? I mean, he still remains Zaniolo, not that the player changes. And you are right, but now that he knows that Milan are not in the race anymore, he knows that if he doesn't accept the Bournemouth, he's going to stay in a club which he doesn't want to stay in. So the things are going to change. He did initially say no to Bournemouth, but now that his dream of going to Milan is shattered because Milan are out of the race, then maybe he can rethink about a Bournemouth move. First of all, The first thing which Bournemouth even have to do to try and sign him is give him a massive call. Give him a massive call and explain two things. First of all, explain the economic and financial benefits of the deal, because he's definitely going to earn more money at Bournemouth than Milan either way, and we'll speak about this in a way. And the second is Bournemouth need to call him and just describe how good a Premier League move would be to his career. If they do these two things, then I wouldn't be surprised if Zaniolo says yes to Bournemouth. But as things stand, if Bournemouth don't personally contact him, then I don't think he's going to change his mind. There's no part of me which believes Zaniolo is going to join a relegation side. You know, we know him. We know him. We know his attitude. Imagine Bournemouth get relegated, what he can do to that team. So, I don't know. It's a mixed reaction. The fact that we've got news after news is positive, because it does mean that teams want him. But at the same time is ticking. And there was supposed to be a big offer on Monday, it didn't come. There was supposed to be a big offer on Tuesday, it didn't come. There was supposed to be a big offer on Wednesday, it didn't come. Today the big offer came, but the man said no. So the things can change, because Milan are out of the race, as I repeat. But I don't know, because Bournemouth aren't Real Madrid. Bournemouth aren't Milan. Bournemouth aren't Tottenham. Bournemouth are a team which, as I said before, 90% will be playing in the Championship next season. And I don't know if Zaniolo really wants that. But this leads me on to another thing, which this just gives you such a good insight of how rotten this league is. Bournemouth, who are sitting at 18th place in the league, have got more money to spend than champions of Italy, Milan. This scenario is the perfect scenario for you to understand why the Serie A is a rotten league. Because it cannot be possible that a team who is sitting 18th or 19th in the Premier League, who is gonna get relegated next season, have got more money to spend than a team who just won the league in the Serie A. It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't know how to explain this, but Bournemouth actually having the power to offer 30 million euros is something which you never see. Like, I know you can't compare the two, but it's like if Sampdoria today offered 30 million to sign Zaniolo. I know it's not the same, because every single team in the Premier League is better than every single team in the Serie A. You know, if Cremonese plays Everton, which are the two teams which are 20th in the league in both leagues, Everton would win 4-0. There's a massive gap between the Serie A and the Premier League. We've discussed this so many times, and this is the perfect scenario, which just shows you how in the Premier League they spend money and have got the money, but in the Serie A they don't. And again, the thing which I think is crucial here is seeing how much money Bournemouth are willing to pay him as a salary. I mean, because, you know, he's shown that he wants, and how irritating he has been with the ownership at this club and wanting this increase in wages. So I don't know. It can be a scenario which can change at any time. It can change now that Milan are out of the race. I wouldn't be surprised if there are key updates starting from tonight. But at the same time is ticking. So if Bournemouth don't present an offer within the next 48 hours and try to... They have presented an offer. I mean, if in the next 48 hours they don't convince the player is going to stay. And I think another evidence which would explain Zaniolo staying until the summer is a potential call-up against Napoli. If on Saturday, we see Mourinho giving a call-up to Zaniolo for the Napoli game, it means that both Mourinho and Zaniolo have had a chat, and both of the two have understood that they're going to continue until the end of the season. So I think he'll stay. I've said this yesterday. Unless they don't convince the players, Zaniolo will stay. What happens next, happens next. What happens next has to be dealt with so carefully. Because we don't want this situation to pose problems within the environment of the team. We don't want this situation to evolve into a new Korsdorp type of situation. So what happens next if he stays is definitely something which Mourinho has to take a lot of responsibilities in. But we've still got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We've got 5 days. We've got 5 days until the end of the transfer market. That 5 days is a lot. 5 days is a lot. 5 days is a lot of time. But it's important to understand that Bournemouth are the only team. And obviously, on the other side, we've got Ziyech who's waiting. Ziyech is waiting for Roma. Ziyech wants that Roma move. Ziyech has said yes to Mourinho's project, but Ziyech is aware that if the guy doesn't leave, then he's not going to come. Everton have presented an offer to Chelsea, as we discussed yesterday, but he is prioritizing Roma. By the end of the day, Ziyech's time is not limited. Ziyech is also running out of time because he wants to find a new team. So he is prioritizing Roma, but if in 4 days he has no confirmations from Roma, then he has to obviously find a new team. I mean, for the sake of his career. Sadly, I think Zaniolo will only leave Roma when his contract expires. I disagree. I think if Zaniolo doesn't leave in January, he's gonna leave in the summer. Unless he becomes, and I mean he becomes, the best player in the league in the space of 5 months, I think Zaniolo has to leave. He's just proved himself so wrong. It would be embarrassing for him to stay at this point. Okay, I understand him staying until the end of the season because, it's a rush against time now. But if he stays even after the summer, then it's a mistake from us because we don't have to keep this guy. And it would be an embarrassment for him. So if he doesn't leave in January, he's gonna leave in the summer, 100%. And I think now that due to FFP, we have to sacrifice a big player to rebalance all of the money stuff. That player is gonna be Zaniolo. Why would that player be Tammy if Zaniolo has behaved like this? Why would that player be Dybala if Zaniolo has behaved like this? That player which will be sacrificed is Zaniolo. It's written in the books, it's written in the Milky Way, it's written in the stars, it's written in the constellations. The Zaniolo will leave. It's just a matter of will he leave now or will he leave in 5 months. But he is gonna leave. And yeah. And again, Milan are not now in a position to offer the money that Roma's asking, but maybe in the summer they are. So things can change. We want him out now, but at the same time, I think it's going to be very hard to sell him now. Right, let's talk about Shomurodov. Big updates on Shomurodov too. Before speaking about Shomurodov, however, I invite everyone in the stream to smash that like button if you haven't already. It's free of cost. Smash that thumbs up. It supports me a lot, so please do it. And also don't forget to smash that subscribe button, bottom right hand corner. And again, let's try and get 6,200 subscribers. We're like 20 subscribers away. Not even, like 10 subscribers away. So please do it if you haven't already. Let's talk about Shomurodov, because Shomurodov is set to go to La Spezia in these next hours. The only thing which is missing is him saying, okay, I want to move to La Spezia, so it's his agreement which is missing. Roma and La Spezia, the two parties have found an agreement. Again, we're speaking of a loan. It's another cheap loan. It's a loan which would allow Roma to monetize 1.5 million euros immediately, and then I think it's around 15 million if La Spezia want to buy him permanently. It's a very similar situation to Vigna. Vigna went to Bournemouth. Shomurodov is gonna go to La Spezia. Cheap loans. I expected more money, but at the end of the day, it's a loan. So if they want him permanently, then we are gonna get the money that we are asking for. But as things stand, no club is in a position to buy players, especially because we have to balance the amount of money we spent on these players. We spent 80 million on Shomurodov. realistically speaking, all respect to Shomurodov, but why would anyone be in a position to pay 18 million for a player who's played 3 games out of like two seasons? So I do understand this. We just waste money on useless players, and that's just implanted in our DNA. That's something which has to be stopped, because it really gives you an impression of how hard it is to then resell these players. Can you cover the FFP effects on Roma? I still don't understand how it affects us and our transfer market. Right, I did a live stream all about this, but if I remember well, basically, what happened is that, first of all, FFP is one thing, but the other thing is also the money that the team has lost, which has nothing to do with FFP. But for example, last month, Roma, and as every other Serie A team, had to come up with their kind of end-of-year financial reports. And out of this end-of-year financial report, it was reported that Roma lost the most money in the previous season in the history of the club. So even without thinking about FFP, we are not in a position to spend money because of the amount of money we lost due to the pandemic, TV rights, and all of that. And the second thing is that due to a couple of years ago, Roma spent a lot of money on the FFP, and basically the UEFA have set some sanctions on us, meaning that if we don't respect the situation, meaning if we spend more money than what we sell, we have to pay, I think it was around a 40 million fine to UEFA. We are in no position to even pay that. We have to avoid fines and all of that. Roma is in no position in paying 40 million as a fine. So what Roma have to try and do is not that we can't buy players. And I think this is what people get wrong. UEFA have not told us you can't buy players. That's wrong to think that. But in order for us to buy players, we have to sell players. There has to be a balance. You see what I mean? So if we bought Dybala for, I know we got him as a free agent, but imagine we bought Dybala for 30 million, then we would have to sell someone for 30 million. There has to be a cycle of selling and buying and selling and buying, so that the amount of money we spend does not drastically, kind of compete against the money we earn and we get from tickets, TV, merch, TV rights, sponsorships, and all of that. That's a broad situation. But again, I'm not a massive expert. But we did a live stream about that. So feel free to go and watch it and check it out. Do you think Zaniolo will accept the Premier League team? I don't know. Because part of me, it's tough to say, because they are a team which are going to get relegated. I'm going to bet all my money Bournemouth are going to get relegated. So, not that I'm going to. I would bet all my money. I'm not going to. But Bournemouth are going to get relegated. And therefore, why would he go to a team which will get relegated? The only reason, as I said at the start, for Bournemouth to convince him is if they increase the salary, which he's currently earning at Roma, and describe to him how a Premier League move can massively improve his career. If these two things don't happen, then Zaniolo's not going to change his mind. But he does need to understand that if he doesn't change his mind, he has to stay at Roma. So if he really doesn't want to stay, then go to Bournemouth. We don't want you anymore. That's something which I think is fair to say. For reference, Roma paid 18 million for Elder and 30 million for Vigna. Can you believe that? 31 million to buy 2 players which barely ever played for us. Jose tell him that he won't get any minutes, so he takes the Bournemouth offer. They offered 30 million. Massive Zaniolo news. Milan out of the race and now only Bournemouth. This is really good offer. Jesus Zaniolo, man, somehow just take it. It's a massive offer. It's a massive offer from Bournemouth. That's why Roma accepted it. It's just the guy doesn't want to go there. But again, his mentality can change, because he said no in a chance of waiting for Milan. Now that he knows that Milan won't or are out of the race, then he can change his mind. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to end the stream. I'm going to catch you tomorrow, which is Friday. Big game on Sunday, so we're going to start... I mean, who knows if Jose will go live for his press conference again. I feel like 3 years now that he's gone live for a press conference. But otherwise, we'll catch you tomorrow. More updates on this deal, on this situation. Will Ziyech come? Will Zaniolo leave? I don't know. I really don't know. It's all in the hands of Bournemouth right now. If Bournemouth don't convince the player in the move, then he's gonna stay. And I don't know. I don't know what we have to do with him. But yeah, we'll also prepare for Sunday's game. It's gonna be a massive game, top 4 clash. We've got the hardest out of our opponents this weekend, but it's lucky that we're playing Napoli in our first game in the second run of the season. Very, very, very lucky that we're doing that. I mean, we'll speak about that in the match preview. Predicted 11, all of that will come. Live watch along on Sunday and all of that. So it's a massive game. Stay tuned for it. And feel free to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the chat. At the end of the day, let me know your final impressions. Will he leave? Will he stay? We've got 5 days left. Do you think anything can change? As I repeat, it's all in the hands of Bournemouth. So we shall see what happens. And I'll catch you tomorrow. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you very, very soon. Simon out. Take care.